if you empower a woman, she will do more than the best, because they too much passion and the quality in whatever they do. You see how the coffee is actually bridging gaps, promoting sustainable development goals. I'm using coffee as a catalyst for development in the area.
Welcome back to another episode, guys. Today, we're diving into the world of sustainable coffee production with Richie Rugaya. He's the CEO of Gorilla Highlands Coffee in Uganda. Richie brings an incredible perspective on the challenges and triumphs faced by African coffee producers as they work to establish themselves in both local and global markets. So, from fostering a coffee culture within Uganda to navigating the mostly complex and demanding global value chains, Richie is not only helping his community to build a more sustainable model, but he's helping African coffee industry in pushing the conversation on trade justice in a forward direction. So let's dive in. The network might be challenging because he's in the Gorilla Mountains in Uganda, but we'll do our best to get as much value from this one. Let's go into it. Hello, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of the Proudly Made in Africa podcast. And today I do have the CEO of Gorilla Coffee. Today we have Richie. Richie, welcome to this episode. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and I'm so excited to get into this one. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. The weather in Kampala is good. I'm now in Kampala, Uganda, and I'm glad to be here.
I love that. So Richie, I'm really sure you've gone through multiple hurdles to get to where you are today with your company, your brand. I just wanted you to be able to give me, some backstory to how this whole began. Where did the whole idea of the name, and what made you see this opportunity to take on this whole challenge?
This project started way back in 2017 in Kisoro, southwestern part of Uganda. That's around 500 kilometers from the city center, near in the mountains, where the mountains Gorilla live. We live adjacent. We live near the two national parks, Bwindi National Park and Mugahinga National Park, and the two parks are the UNESCO heritage sites. And in those mountains, we have mountain gorillas, and mountain gorillas are 97% DNA to human beings. So we are closer to the mountain gorillas. But because of hardships, because of challenges, because of poverty, there has been an increase in poaching by the frontline communities. They go to the forest to poach for survival. And we began this project to see if we can have alternative source of income that can support the communities who live near those mountain gorillas, and they stop poaching. So we started coffee project because coffee grows well in that area. That area it has good soils. It is on high altitude, 2,000 meters above sea level, and you have volcanic soils. So the soils and temperatures support the growing of good coffee. So we embarked on this project as a way of promoting conservation efforts in the area, especially the women who actually contribute to the destroying of the ecosystem, because women are the ones who cook, they're the ones who grow crops, they're the ones who go to the forest to look for firewood, to look for medicine for their children. So this project is 60% women involved. Yeah. So that's how we started the project way back in 2017. Another reason we started this project, Gorilla Highlands Coffee, is to support economic development of the area. The area is largely tourism. So, and tourists, most of them love coffee actually. and they constitute 70% of the sales. So we sell more coffee to tourists who come here to for tourism purposes. Thank you.
Okay. And so I'm just curious, like at that moment when, before coffee, what were you doing before you started the business?
I was employed. I was working actually in South Sudan,
Okay.
and my parents and other people in the area used to grow coffee, but it was not bringing the incomes they need. It was not supporting them because they were being exploited by the middlemen. Since we live very far from the center, it is hard to reach area. No machines for the to process their coffee, no markets. So some coffee would grow and ripe from the garden, and they don't harvest them because it was economically it was not supporting them. So they abandoned the whole project. So when I came back from South Sudan in 2017, I I reached home and I saw my mother had uprooted 2 acres of coffee, and there was only one bag of 1 kg, 1 kilogram, which was in her sitting room. Then I asked her, why did you cut the trees? She told me that I can't get much money I need to support me through coffee growing. So I would rather uproot the coffee garden and plant beans and other foodstuffs that can help me to survive. Because she told me the coffee you can't eat it, but at least I can grow vegetables in my garden and eat. I took the 1 kg to the city and they gave me $3. So I realized the problem in that community. They have lack of access to market. They have lack of access to technologies to help them produce good coffee, which can attract a premium price for them. So I went back home. I sat with the community and I began mobilizing them. Those who had uprooted, I mobilized them. I taught them how to produce good coffee, quality control. I helped them to access the market. So the last 5 years, I've been really with the community, trying to mobilize them, trying to teach them how to produce the best coffee that attracts premium price, trying to access market, trying to access finance to support them and their communities. That's what I've been.
So I understand now a little bit of the backstory. That community sense of you see the lack of access that people, and maybe even awareness that there is an opportunity for them to make more money with their products. But now I see your product there, which has a really nice packaging and it's called Gorilla. So where did the name, what inspired the name, first of all? Was that something that your mom had, personal relationship with the name, or you just came up with that as well?
One, Gorilla is a big name in my area
Okay.
because of tourism. Because tracking gorilla, someone has to pay $800 now. So and you can see it's a big attraction.
Mm.
That's one. Two, um, gorillas are dear to us because we share the same NA. 98% DNA. So we share the same ecosystem. So I wanted to come up with a name that can that can market the area.
Okay.
So when I
Okay.
say and tourism, then the gorilla will thrive. I mean, the conservation will go high. So that's why I came up with this good name. But
Okay.
also, but also, this project was largely a social project to support the communities near the two mountain gorilla parks, to support the efforts, the conservation efforts. So that's also another reason why I started the Gorilla brand. Yeah, because proceeds from this coffee goes to the efforts of conservation in the area.
Interesting. So, and most of the products, if you're to put it in terms of percentage, where is the majority of your sales going to or coming from? Is it within the states? Is it outside the country? Where is it going?
One of the positive step I took was to add value to our coffee. Because Uganda is number one exporter of coffee in Africa. Uganda is number two producer of coffee also in Africa,
Hmm.
but we don't drink our coffee. We grow and sell to the West, to Europe, to US. So we sell in a green bean,
Yeah.
not value added. So you go and pick the cherries, you dry it, you remove the parchment, you export, and you are given little money. You are given only $3 per kilo. But I came up with a plan of increasing the value of our coffee by packaging, by roasting it from the origin, packaging it, and export ready product. This is 1 kilo, and I
Okay.
sell at $30. $30
Mm.
as opposed to selling it what is raw in raw form at
Hmm.
$3. So that this is one of the positive step I have taken to grow our own coffee, process it, and export it in a finished form. So I have a roastery in Kisoro, 500 kilometers away from Kampala, and I'm one of the first roasters of coffee in Uganda.
How challenging was it for you to set up a roasting space in the city?
In the city or in the village?
In the village, sorry. I'm just curious, like in terms of financial and maybe were there any operating like corporations or bodies that wanted you not to have a roster in that space?
First of all, no one knew about roaster. Even the government didn't know because
Okay.
being. But as I continued engaging myself with tourists from the West, they'll tell me, "Oh, this coffee, you can roast it. Oh, what's roasting?" So I began running about the idea of roasting. Then I got support from ITC, International Trade Center.
Hmm.
International Trade Center the is the technical arm of World Trade Organization and UN.
Okay.
So I applied for a training in roasting course. Then I got certified.
Hmm.
Then I got another support from PAM, an organization in Netherlands that supports technically. So they supported me with some financial finances, I think €1,000. Then I added from my savings. Then I bought a 5 kilogram roaster, a Turkish made roaster. That's it was so challenging, of course, especially the certifications also because no one knew about how to certify roasted coffee. Also, the electricity in the village is really um, on and off. So those are the challenges I passed through. But it has been now like 3 years roasting, and I can see I'm getting more sales as time goes on. And 70% of my clients who buy roasted coffee are actually people from the West, the tourists who come. They
Okay.
come take our coffee as souvenir coffees as gifts back home. And some of them have helped me to set up shops in their countries to resell this product. I have a partner in Japan who buys from me and resells in Japan. Then I have someone in Norfolk,
Hmm.
in and London. They have set up. They have the cafes there. They buy from us. Then also someone in Detroit, Michigan, and Sydney in Australia, and now Cape Town. So you can see I'm getting people getting interested to resell our coffee roasted from Toro. Uh, yeah, so that is all. That's a positive side.
Oh, definitely it is. It is. I'm just curious though, in terms of you having these partnerships in multiple, countries, which is definitely a milestone because it's way ahead of where it was just 3 years or 4 years ago. I'm curious about how do you export it continuously? Do you manage the exportation or do they have like channels that come to you every time? Now, let's say they want to restock in London, for instance. Is it your responsibility to package and send it to them, or who is paying for the expenses of those logistics? Is it you?
Yeah, it's me. They make order.
Okay.
So of course, they take care of the freight charges. So I
Okay.
have an agency at the airport because normally there are small volumes,
Yeah.
50 kilos, 100 kilos. So I use freight, the air to ship to them. Of course,
Yeah.
it's but uh, as volumes grow, then I can maybe look for other alternative transport. But now I'm using air and I'm responsible for export.
That makes sense. Okay. That's actually beautiful because at the end of the day, you're just looking for expansion and scaling. But when I come back to what's happening in Uganda itself, you've mentioned the need for the culture of coffee consumption to rise in the country. Why do you think people don't really look towards consuming coffee naturally in Uganda? Like, do you feel it's because people already have energy compared to here? Because one thing here is most people wake up in the morning and maybe they're drowsy, they feel, oh, I need this boost of energy. Maybe there's no sun, but in Uganda there is sun. People are lively, energetic. Do you feel it's part of it, or it's just maybe it's a different reason? What do you think is the main reasons?
Of course, it's more of historical, and because people introduced coffee here were the missionaries. Coffee was not was is new to us, except a variety robusta coffee, which is born. I mean, which originated from Uganda. Arabic coffee originated from Yemen,
Yeah.
and was brought to East Africa by the missionaries and the colonizers, the British. So the British used coffee as a cash crop to export and get money to support the colonies, including
Okay.
Uganda. So coffee was for export. So the mindset we grew up knowing coffee is not for us. Coffee is for the white people. It's
Okay.
for us. We knew coffee uh, they get ingredients for like making bullets. So there's that mindset, and women are saying no, women can't take coffee. So it was mindset, and also the British told us, you grow coffee, for you take tea, coffee is for
Mhm.
export. So we grew up knowing coffee is for export, tea is for us. So Uganda is the tea country, not coffee country. But one of the projects I'm doing is actually to promote domestic consumption of coffee because Ethiopia drinks like 50% of her coffee is
Okay.
is consumed locally. So meaning money stays in that area. But for
Okay.
us, it's only 4 now to maybe 8%, but it's
Mm.
increasing. 5 years ago, it was like 4%. So, for example, in where I grew it from, I have a coffee shop, a cafe,
Yeah.
and when I introduced coffee, no one actually, the first 3 months, no one tasted the coffee. But now they are drinking coffee. They come the evening, they drink coffee. They when the tourists come and they see them drinking coffee, they also try to drink to emulate them. Though they think coffee is for the high class, so other people feel, if they see me drinking coffee, what do they do? It's expensive, so it's just a mindset. But they
Okay.
have started drinking coffee in Uganda. When you come to Kampala, more cafes are opening in suburbs. Yeah, in Kisoro, we have now 2 cafes. Yeah, so the culture, we are picking the culture of drinking coffee.
Okay. And there's also this topic about fairness in the global supply chain. I know how how reliant the European countries or even the Western countries are on this production from Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya, in terms of coffee production. But like you said, getting 1 kilo for $3, and if you decided to roast it, which doesn't seem like a very expensive process, and then you package this, you capture a lot more of that value, which is almost 300%. So my question is, are there forces intentionally preventing these developments within these communities? For instance, we hear there is a lot of aids coming into this community, but have you seen these aids doing anything positive? Like, okay, the aid comes in and is intentionally used in developing roasters, packaging systems in these communities so that some of those value can be captured, or are the aids being stolen or not being used intentionally? Let me just say, is the question is, do these European companies or large corporations really helping, or they're intentionally trying not to help in making you guys more empowered?
Of course, coffee is controlled by big boys. Like 90% of exporters are big boys. The Aura, like Tata from
Mm.
India. Then
Wow.
those big exporters from Switzerland, from Germany, yeah, they're the ones controlling the export, and it is very hard for us to enter. Even when you enter, you don't have the logistics, you don't have finances like them, you don't have a machinery like them. Even the markets, they control the markets. Yeah. So what they do, of course, they try to seize us, push us aside, because you are entering in their domain. Yeah. So
Mm.
very hard to compete with those big boys like Oram. But of course, the government has been trying to promote the growing. So we all normally get support like from international NGOs like EU. EU has been supporting the coffee sector here. For example, I have benefited from EU support
Okay.
in many ways. Solidaridad from Italy. So we have international NGOs coming in to support the communities, but not those companies. Actually, those companies they don't really support. What they do, they just come and buy and they offer like they give you money in
Mm.
advance payment, which for us we don't have, we can't have. Yeah, but there are so many other initiatives from the private sector, the government, the international community that's coming up on board, because coffee is becoming a big deal
Yeah.
for us. Prices
Okay.
have up. The incomes of farmers are increasing in Uganda. Maybe largely because the consumption is increasing globally, but also there have been some challenges in Vietnam and Brazil, the big suppliers. So in Brazil they have got like frost. So farmers in Uganda have been actually benefiting a lot, because during COVID, the incomes, the revenues government get from coffee tripled. Yeah, like in last year, Uganda exported coffee worth 1.4 billion US dollars.
Wow.
It's much money. Yeah, so everyone is now really going into coffee growing, and we have been selling 4 bags. Uganda has the the they are trying to see if we can sell 20 million bags by 2030.
Okay.
So everyone is waking up now, adding value, quality control, to produce this coffee that can attract more money. Yeah.
So I heard that in Ethiopia, the government are really standing behind the agricultural industry. So they help in negotiation when maybe aids come in from these large places, right? They come with strings attached most of the time. They say we need you to do this if you're getting this aid or whatever, and the Ethiopian government are very strict in terms of they don't giving into some of those terms as long as it's not beneficial to them. They're like, if you're not gonna give us this money to help our agricultural industry, we will not take your money. So my question is, I do understand that, for instance, Uganda has always put tea at the forefront because it's one of the most consumed products or produced products in Uganda as well, right? Is this same energy given to the coffee industry in Uganda? Are the government really infusing a lot of those money or aids coming into the coffee industry or into the agricultural industry? Are they really helping that industry push up to the level you see it? Because you are in this industry, you know the potential it has, especially on a global scale. But in terms of percentage of what they're doing, how far do you think we are behind? What needs to be done to really make things start to pop for Uganda coffee industry?
Uganda private sector is liberalized. The market is liberalized, so the government rarely intervenes. So there is a lot of forces of demand and supply here in Uganda. So the sector was like forgotten. There was no government regulations in place. But now, the last 2 years, government has come up with a bill in Parliament. It's called a Coffee Act. I mean, a Coffee Act. So there's an act now, Coffee Act. It has do's and don'ts in the coffee industry. For example, in that act, they punish people who neglect the coffee. They punish people who pick coffee which is not ready for for consumption, which is not ripened. They don't punishes them. They also support the government to increase the production. So the government has been giving farmers seedlings to plant more coffee. Then
Okay.
we had aging coffee. Imagine when you come here in Uganda, you find a coffee tree which is taller than a house. You have to use a ladder to pick coffee because people don't want to stamp. Because when you stamp, you cut the old trees, the younger rejuvenate and the production increases, but people don't care. They say, okay, if I cut my tree, how will I survive? Will the government manage to survive the next 2 years when the coffee is when it is stamped, when it is coming up?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the government has no money to give those farmers, so that's why they don't stamp. Uh, uh, then there's this EU deal. This is in Europe now. You can't export coffee when it is not traced.
Okay.
Uh, Expensive program because you have to trace. In Europe, they have to buy coffee uh, that is known where it is coming from. If you cut forest to grow coffee, they don't buy it. So all those the government is coming in to really support, but also the government has seen the value because they have gotten more money now from coffee sector. So government is coming in to really support farmers. There was this Coco Dev. It's a EU project. They put in almost $8 million. They match with farmers who want to grow coffee on large scale. Uh,
Okay.
they they give you 50-50. So you can see there are initiatives which are coming not to punish but also to lower them to support them to increase the production. Yeah, but also the law is now clear. Uh, you have to follow rules when you are growing coffee because uh, we have to compete with people who are doing well, like Costa Rica, Ethiopia. So we have to bring in rules to guide us to produce the best.
Which city in Uganda is consuming gorilla coffee the most? Which city would you like to penetrate more within Uganda?
Our coffee is 50% tourism
Mm-hmm.
and 50% coffee. So you can see I have different brands. I have 4 brands,
Okay.
and brands grown in tourism zones. You can see these are rakes.
Okay.
So there's coffee grown around the rake. Then this is Bwindi. This is Virunga region. So my coffee is sold in tourism places. So the city which would be the best to penetrate is maybe Kampala and Entebbe, where there are many experts. Because I target a niche. I target is in a specialty niche, and that niche is where the most people stay, the expatriates, the foreign community, the tourists. So I'm selling in Kisoro and Kampala. Yeah, but if I had money, I would go to near the airports. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. When I was in Nairobi, I realized the airport had coffee being sold by different brands. So, is this like a target for you as well to have your coffee on the stalls in the airport, or do you already have that already?
I am selling to few supermarkets like
Mm.
Carrefour,
Okay.
French Carrefour market. Then, but I'm in touch with some airports, duty free shop. They want to start restocking my coffee, but of course, I still have the challenge. You can see the packaging is okay, but
Mm-hmm.
not so standard. So I have
Okay.
to compete. You can see this is a sticker. You can stick it out.
Okay. I get
If I
you.
had
I get.
if I had money and they do pre-branded that can really attract the consumers, then I would be going to those shelves. Yeah, but first I want to take care of quality,
Mm-hmm.
which I have done now. Quality control. This coffee won gold medal in France last year. Then I hit the market. I'm still selling uh, just on small scale.
Okay, okay. Well, that's beautiful, and I definitely do wish this brand, the best of luck. I see great potential for it, so it's really a pleasure when getting a chance to speak with you and get more insight about how things are, within Uganda. I hope to visit soon, someday.
Yeah, sure. You should visit. You should visit and visit the community. You got the gorillas. You see how the coffee is actually uh, bridging gaps, promoting sustainable development goals. I'm using coffee as a catalyst for development in the area.
Interesting. And you did mention one last thing, though. You were like, it's majorly handled by women in this industry. So I'm curious, is it like what role do most men play in this industry, or are men just non-existent mostly in this area?
Yeah, coffee being a cash crop has been largely a man's crop. Yeah, money. It brings in money. It's a fat
Mhm.
cow in money. So women are the ones who actually provide the labor force.
Mm.
Women are the ones who work in the gardens, who prune, who pick the coffee, to sort it. Then when they sell, it goes in man's pocket.
Oh wow.
Because
Okay.
women don't own land. Most of the women don't own land. Few own their land. And yet they are the ones who take care of the coffee gardens. So,
Mm.
in order to inspire them, for us, we came in with approach whereby we produce small volumes but very very high quality.
Mhm.
Uh, being women driven, and also they can grow their own coffee around their households, just
Okay.
100 around the house. Yeah,
Mm.
because at least they own land around the house as their own.
Yes.
Yeah, so we gave them the responsibility of taking care of their own coffee, and they do it well with passion because they
Mm.
come support those very 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 women. So at least every household has got coffee plantation around the house, which is really organic. Because those women have goats and cows, so they fertilize them with the organic manure from their
Mm.
cows.
Mm.
So when they take to market, they come smiling and it improves their income, their homes. So our strategy is home and the habitat.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You improve your home household, then you end up improving the habitat where these animals live, the, the wildlife. So that is the connection: home, heart, and habitat. Three H's. So
Lovely.
so women, if you empower a woman, she will do more than the best because they put too much passion and the quality in whatever they do.
Nice. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Richie. I really do appreciate you sharing your insights today. Before we wrap up, though, I want you to give us what you have as your vision for Africa in the next, say 10 years. What do you see, or what do you wish to see in Africa?
Yeah, the next 10 years, every society has got a comparative advantage over the other. Definitely, Africa, the next 10 years should be the food basket of the world because we have enough soils. I mean, enough fertile soils. We have enough land to grow for the world. When others are manufacturing, for us, we would go into farming and modern farming because we can't compete with the West in manufacturing. We can't, and you are not there. But we can grow food which they don't have. So for us, if we can, Africa can concentrate on promoting agriculture, agribusiness in Africa, then we grow food for the West. It will be uh, important sector for us because that's what we can do best. So the next 10 years in Africa is to see commercialization of agriculture, not growing food for eating, but growing food for business. And yeah,
Interesting. That's beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day, and we'll speak to you soon again.
and thanks for this interview. I really appreciate.
No problem. Much obliged. Take care.